Chemtrails, contrails. You know anything about that? Anybody around you been talking about those things? I hear a lot of people talking about them. You've been looking up in the sky recently? Are they spraying over your town? Are they spraying over your city? Guys, we're breathing this stuff in. Ladies and gentlemen, this stuff is not a joke. This stuff is nanotechnology. There's a lot of stuff they're putting in these chemtrails that they're spraying us with that are really harmful to us. I'm not going to claim to be an expert, but again, I think there's enough information out there on the internet that you can do your own homework and find out that there is a lot of things that are in these chemtrails that are really harmful to us, harmful to our bodies, harmful to our environment, and we're just allowing this to happen. You know, I haven't heard of one of these planes being shot out of the sky because they're basically slow killing us with all these chemicals. You know, I'd heard about this in the past, and I remember hearing about this so many years ago. I heard this originally. I heard about cloud seeding, and again, I could see where when this started out, just like anything here in this country, we seem to just take something that's completely innocent and just abuse it to as much as we possibly can, and we take something that can be used for good and we turn it into something bad. So again, I remember many years ago hearing about the term cloud seeding, so when I heard about contrails or chemtrails, I wasn't completely surprised about this. I was described that farmers were using this technology, crop dusting. We've all heard of that, right? Crop dusters. Again, crop dusting, is not the same thing as cloud seeding, but again, this is something I was familiar with. They were spraying crops to help manipulate the crops, but I was never aware until I had found out some information about cloud seeding, and that these farmers, as we obviously with Mr. Al Gore pushing all his global warming and being in this large drought that we're in, not that we haven't been in a drought before in this country, folks, and not that we haven't been in many different kinds of weather that we've had throughout thousands of years of history, but again, not to the extremes that we're having in these days. Some of that may be due to what they're putting in our atmosphere. It may have something to do with it, it may not. Again, I'm not trying to say that I'm a scientist here or that I have any bit of background in this, but there's a lot of good solid information on the internet. There's a lot of people who have been doing these type of news articles, newsworthy articles for many of years now on the internet, on YouTube. So you'll have to pick and choose what is good information, what is not. So you're going to have to do the same thing on this video. If I say something that's false, then just take it as false. If I say something that's true, then obviously you've backed it up and you've looked at the information and you would concur with the information that I've researched. Again, guys, I apologize that I have not put up any of these videos yet, having all the different news articles, linking all these articles so you can see what I'm talking about. Again, most of these things I would not speak about if there wasn't good information and some good news articles, good solid information coming on the net from good news resources, credible news resources that are putting this information out, and I'm passing it on to you. I'm trying to kind of give you an all-in-one, and then you just research whatever you think is important to you or whatever you think might not be to your like and not be true. Again, I'm not here to fearmonger. I'm not out here to put out false information. Not a scientist, but I do want to try to put out the information as a common person, American citizen who's being sprayed with this crap. I'm tired of it, and I wanted to make a video showing you with at least here come from my mouth the knowledge that I have found. So again, let's talk about that cloud seeding. Again, we had droughts in this country. We have our most of our farming industry comes out of the middle of our country, and we've experienced a lot of dry seasons. And so these different airlines, different kind of crop dusting, different kinds of airplanes. Again, obviously you see different ones when you look up. They're not all exactly the same, but we're using this technology. Let's say if the weather was dry and they wanted to create clouds, which obviously I think you've seen, if you know a little bit about chemtrails, they have the ability to create weather and moisture. And so they would spray in these areas, and then it would rain over these farmers' crops, and it was a win-win situation. So very innocent. Who knows at the time, again, it seemed very innocent what exact chemicals they were putting in their particles, whether they were nanoparticles at that time. But, again, if they were just trying to create moisture within the atmosphere to help water these crops, I think that's a great idea. We do need to use our technology, and we need to use it in the right manner. We need to use it in a manner that's safe and that we've done plenty of background research on to find out if we're going to be spraying chemicals that could potentially loft throughout the globe, that we're making sure we're not putting harmful chemicals up in our environment that are eventually, some things take considerable time to leach back down into our back down into the atmosphere, back down onto Earth, and hit the surface. I found when I bring this up with people, people have mixed reaction. I'm going to just tell you, personally, I've had some success in talking with people about this. A good way, personally, I brought it up to people is just when you see one of those days, they're few and far between, guys, but if you find one of those days where you see a clear blue sky, that's a good way to bring it up to people. I say, hey, have you looked up recently, guys? Where did all those stripes go? If they're older folks, I might say something like, where did all those candy cane stripes go, folks? Have you seen any of those candy cane stripes? You know what those things are? Do you remember seeing those growing up when you were a kid? And I can speak to people and get them to talk about things, and a lot of them, they open up and then they realize too that, wow, you know what, I realized that I haven't even been looking up, but maybe I have, I just didn't even notice. So, another way, if I've got maybe somebody who's, maybe more kind of like a manly way to bring it up would be like, hey, did you guys see those rally stripes up there in the sky? Where'd all those rally stripes go? That's a great way to bring it up. At times, this stuff has gotten so bad that instead of saying rally stripes or candy cane stripers, guys, I've said, hey, have you guys looked up and seen those waffle fries up there in the sky? I mean, they've got them going in this direction and this direction. They got them going in every direction that you can imagine. And they're crisscrossing our skies. And it looks like somebody put some waffle fries up there in our skies. Again, guys, this stuff is full of terrible different nanoparticles that I've kind of compiled a list of different ones that I have found. And again, not all of these products are being sprayed at the same time, not through the same airplanes. And so, again, this is more of a compilation. If you disagree with this, again, this is the research and the homework that I've found. So there is a difference between a chemtrail and a contrail. Condensation contrail, meaning that when the jets burn off this fuel, kind of like an injector in your carburetor, which shoots the fuel and then allows it to be burned off. Of course, there's byproduct of burning fuel. Well, again, these particles are being sprayed into these different kinds of airlines, and there's more than one way to administer this stuff into the air. But again, it's using it like an injector, okay, using it as a spray and spraying this nanotechnology. But I've noticed myself personally, it seems like the stripes, and then the next thing you know, it's 2 or 3 days later, and then you have a rain. So obviously, they're very aware of what they're doing. It seems to me as if they're hitting a lot of the major cities. I've moved a couple times here in the last recently here, and I've seen them from the state that I'm in now and the other state that I was in. I don't know where you can get away from these things. are you being sprayed in other countries, or is the USA the only one eating GMO and not talking about Fukushima and being sprayed, or are we the only one, guys? You know, or are we just
That's
a bunch of sheep
obviously
walking
where
around, just a bunch of lame ducks? I'm not sure here, so.
Okay, well that's obviously. Let's charge it and we'll go and figure out where we're at. Good thing I can do some splicing.